Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, the world will tell you. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. The greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. To be normal is the ultimate aim of the unsuccessful. Midlife is the time to let go of an over-dominant ego and to contemplate the deeper significance of human existence. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. I don't aspire to be a good man. I aspire to be a whole man. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. I regret many follies which sprang from my obstinacy, but without that trait, I would not have reached my goal. Embrace your grief, for there your soul will grow. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. Children are educated by what the grown-up is and not by his talk. The brighter the light, the darker the shadow. The debt we owe to the play of imagination is incalculable. The first half of life is devoted to forming a healthy ego, and the second half is going inward and letting go of it. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder a secret order. If a man knows more than others, he becomes lonely. Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. Through pride, we are ever deceiving ourselves. But deep down below the surface of the average conscience, a still small voice says something is out of tune. Whatever is rejected from the self appears in the world as an event. Wisdom accepts that all things have two sides. Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries. To find out what is truly individual in ourselves, profound reflection is needed, and suddenly we realize how uncommonly difficult the discovery of individuality is. There can be no transforming of darkness into light, and of apathy into movement without emotions. To me, dreams are part of nature, which harbors no intention to deceive, but expresses something as best it can. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Looking outwards has got to be turned into looking into oneself. Discovering yourself provides you with all you are, were meant to be, and all you are living from and for. It all depends on how we look at things, and not how they are in themselves. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You are what you do, not what you say you will do. The difference between a good life and a bad life is how well you walk through the fire. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol, morphine, or idealism. The capacity for directed thinking I call intellect. The capacity for passive or undirected thinking I call intellectual intuition. Thinking is difficult. That is why most people judge. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. It is far better take things as they come along with patience and equanimity. Loneliness does not come from having no people about one, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself, or from holding certain views which others find inadmissible. A particularly beautiful woman is a source of terror. As a rule, a beautiful woman is a terrible disappointment. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved but only outgrown. In each of us, there is another whom we do not know. Knowledge rests not upon truth alone, but upon error also. Show me a sane man, and I will cure him for you. A dream that is not understood remains a mere occurrence. Understood, it becomes a living experience. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Often, the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. Life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. Shrinking away from death is something unhealthy and abnormal, which robs the second half of life of its purpose. To ask the right question is already half the solution of a problem. What you resist persists. The debt we owe to the play of imagination is incalculable. The pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. Do not compare. Do not measure. No other way is like yours. All other ways deceive and tempt you. You must fulfill the way that is in you. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. The first half of life is devoted to forming a healthy ego. The second half is going inward and letting go of it. The urge to become what one is invincibly strong, and you can always count on it. But that does not mean that things will necessarily turn out positively. If you are not interested in your own fate, the unconscious is. The word happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. I have always been impressed by the fact that there are a surprising number of individuals who never use their minds if they can avoid it, and an equal number who do use their minds, but in an amazingly stupid way. We don't really heal anything. We simply let it go. A special ability means a heavy expenditure of energy in a particular direction, with a consequent drain from some other side of life. The best political, social, and spiritual work we can do is to withdraw the projection of our shadow onto others. The healthy man does not torture others generally. It is the tortured who turn into torturers. Mistakes are, after all, the foundations of truth, and if a man does not know what a thing is, it is at least an increase in knowledge if he knows what it is not. I shall not commit the fashionable stupidity of regarding everything I cannot explain as a fraud. Follow that will and that way which experience confirms to be your own. Nobody, as long as he moves about among the chaotic currents of life, is without trouble. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. I must also have a dark side if I am to be whole. Great talents are the loveliest and often the most dangerous fruits on the tree of humanity. They hang upon the most slender twigs that are easily snapped off. Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, their love is lacking. The one is the shadow of the other. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. The foundation of all mental illness is the unwillingness to experience legitimate suffering. Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on their environment, and especially on their children, than the unlived life of the parent. How can I be substantial if I do not cast a shadow? I must have a dark side also if I am to be whole. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. The creation of something new is not accomplished by the intellect, but by the play instinct acting from inner necessity. The creative mind plays with the objects it loves. When an inner situation is not made conscious, it appears outside as fate. Everyone you meet knows something you don't know but need to know. Learn from them. Solitude is for me a fount of healing which makes my life worth living. Talking is often a torment for me, and I need many days of silence to recover from the futility of words. We are born at a given moment, in a given place, and, like vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and of the season of which we are born. Astrology does not lay claim to anything more.